India has changed unrecognizably in the last 25 years of economic reforms. But there has always been a criticism of the reforms that we have initiated, that it has not impacted on the life of the common man as much as it should have. I had a first-hand experience of what the situation was. We were living in the famous license permit quota Raj. And the license permit quota Raj meant that for everything you had to make an application. Things were not easily available. So one had to depend largely on one's memory, on large places where data was kept, and retrieving that data was almost impossible. I mean, it used something which you can do in a jiffy these days. It used to take days, if not weeks and months. So I remember I had a very distinguished secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, and KB Lal, and somebody asked him about whether the Commerce Ministry had information available on a particular subject, and he said it is somewhere in this building, but I don't know where it is. So in the building the information was there, but it was difficult to retrieve. On a personal note, for instance, buying a new car was impossible. You had to wait for long periods of time before your turn came. And I particularly remember I returned from Germany from a posting, and I had not brought a car with me. So, there was no way in which I could have got a car from the market immediately. Perhaps the wait was 2 years for a Fiat car or something. But this is where the catch was in those days, that there were special quotas, there were discretionary quotas. So I applied to the Bihar government to give me, out of that discretionary quota, give me a Fiat car. And they did, and I was able to get it within weeks. But in the normal course, one would have had to wait for, as I said, 2 years, if not more. There used to be an organization in the Ministry of Industry called the Director General of Technical Development, DGTD in short. People would have forgotten about it because it was abolished in the wake of the reforms. And DGTD was supposed to be the repository of all knowledge about industry in those days. People used to go to one particular officer in that particular Directorate General because he was the one who had all the information about how much capacity had been created in the whole country until then, in any particular sector. So whether somebody came and wanted to set up a new drug factory, the application will have to go to the DGTD, and somebody there will decide whether additional capacity was needed or not. Producing beyond your capacity, permitted capacity, was a crime, and you could be punished if you produced beyond that. There was a Directorate General of Trade whose job was to look at quotas for trade, for imports and exports and all that. So everywhere there was, strict government control. I remember when I became finance minister, in one of my budgets, I abolished the discretion that the finance minister had at his level. And what was the discretion? The discretion was that if somebody made an application for importing something, the finance minister could, and this is post-reform mind you, finance minister could permit that import duty-free. So a sportsperson earned let's say a car as a prize. He could bring it into India without paying any duty if the finance minister permitted duty exemption. So I decided that I will not exercise that control, that discretion, and abolished it. And the next year we made a calculation. I was told that the government had earned 500 crore rupees more by way of import duty because we abolished that particular discretion in these 25 years. And that, I think, is a task for the future, that we must be able to look at the condition of our people who are still deprived and bring about change in their life. Then if you do anything to improve the capital markets or the banking system or the industrial system or the services sector, a lot of things will become acceptable if we can change the quality of life of the people.